Oh, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Goblin King's Fire Emblem Conquest playthrough. Now, today we're gonna be doing this in post, and yeah, we're gonna be doing this in post. Essentially, this level, to break it down for you, sorry, it's been like a month since I actually finished the series. Finished recording all this footage, so I'm a little out of it. And it's been a while since about a month too, since I've recorded anything really, with friends or otherwise. This map can be broken down into about 3 areas, or I have, and the first section, which I'm dealing with right now, is, the section that has 8 heroes to the south in this room under us. And the heroes are incredibly difficult. I cannot one-shot them, and they all have counter. So I can't even leave anyone over there to tank. So what I'm doing here is I'm wasting my entrap spell, which I'll talk about how that fucks me over later, but to entrap them in this room where I can pummel them without fear of death or severe punishment, because of course, like I said, they'll rush us. And yeah, this room right here with the heroes is a nightmare. This map, just by itself, has almost made me quit this playthrough because it's so fucking crazy hard. Now, I think I've said it before, but we're to the point now where levels don't matter. Even the crazy skills we have don't really matter, or they put us on level playing field with the opponents. They do matter, but they don't give us an advantage like they used to. Like we're now kind of on an even playing field with the opponent. But actually, I'd say at this point, and this level especially, we are certainly underpowered for the first time, maybe in the playthrough, or maybe not. But I can't remember what the last episode was, but this might be the first time where we're underpowered. We're outmanned and we're outpowered because they all have skills that are, I don't know a better way to put it, but New Game Plus skills. So like absurd skills that no one should have. Or maybe not. Maybe they have very defensive skills, I think is a better way to put it. So approach them or not, we're in a pickle. We can't leave them alive on their turn because it's dangerous to defend against these enemies, and we can't kill, or we have trouble killing them because they have such defensive skills that it makes killing them, or making the offensive here, dangerous because they have skills like counter, which put us out. Or I don't know if you saw me point out before this level, these maids, which this level is littered with these not mages, maids. These maids have an ability or a skill that will allow them to use their staffs infinitely. And as you see, they have absurd range. So they have absurd range, and they can use all these debuffing staffs as much as they want, so they cannot be baited out, or we can't bait out the usage of these staffs. So it makes this map very dangerous, and by the end of it, you're either extremely debuffed or you're dead. When I was saying I had difficulty with this map a lot, I tried this map a lot, and when I say lost, I mean like I didn't just lose the Lord, I mean like everybody gets fucking obliterated. and just fucking dies. That's not even here at this first part. This first part is not that bad, though it's very difficult. But like I was saying earlier, this map is divided up into 3 sections, or I've divided up into 3 sections. 4 kind of, because, well, I don't go to there. But see, we have the 3 areas. Let me just explain that for now. Are this first room here, which contains 8 heroes and a maid, which, you know, I already explained this, and we've seen it. We've almost cleared this room out. They all have counter, and like I was saying, you can't just leave anyone in there to tank because their counter is so dangerous, and it's hard to make it offensive because their counter is so dangerous. The other part of this map, or the second part, is the I think it's Dark Mages again. I'm sorry, it's been a while. The Dark Mages room. I think that's what the class in this game is. And we'll see it here in a second. It's the room to the right here. Dark Mages and Maids. And this room isn't. Yeah, see, there's some of them limited hexing staves. This room is optional. The maid side, you can, if you're feeling plucky, or if your army is a little bit more geared towards taking out these undead or faceless or whatever the fuck these things are, you can go to the left, and there is a room filled with monsters that you can fight instead of the mage room. Now, I picked the mage room because I think it's easier. I don't know if that's true. I don't, like, overall, I don't know if that's true. I do know that the monsters over here on the left, they have the I was talking about it in that map. Oof. The map that was comprised completely of faceless and that you have to run away from. They have the faceless that just have the absurd range and will put, that will get rid of your movement, or do the movement hex on you, so you can't, you know, take on large groups of space. So if you go to the left and you're dealing with that on top of faceless, which usually have high HP and high attack, so to save myself the headache, I was like, it's going to be way easier to take out a bunch of dark mages, especially considering I have like a bunch of melee units. So, like, you know, I pair up my melee units, and even if I have to defend at a distance, I have archers. So pair up my melee units and just pick them off nice and easy. So that's what I decided to do there. And then the third portion of this map, which is by far the worst, which, again, story-wise, if you don't know, you're fighting Hans and Iago on this map. You decide to finally kill them, and they're in this room to the south of where the hero room is. And they are all, it's a room filled with fucking generals and berserkers, and it is fucking absurd, dude. It is overwhelming is an understatement. It is, whew, we'll see someone when I get there, but not only do you have to fight all these insane classes with, you know, crazy skills, you have to take on reinforcements, and as well, if you're noticing all these hexes that are going around, they're not going away, because these maids also have a skill that is called like inevitable ends or something like that, and it means all these debuffing effects stack. So they can use Enfeeble, which lowers all your stats by 4. And throughout the map, they'll hit you with several Enfeebles. So, you know, already at 3 Enfeebles, which I can't imagine, especially if you're using, like, your avatar character, or any other tank you might have. 3 Enfeebles is minus 12 in every stat, so it can fuck you right up. And in this playthrough, I've been using everything available to me, like I've said, because I want to see if there is a Lunatic Plus or Lunatic mode. So I've been using everything available to me, and even using everything at my, my power here, everything at that I can get my hands on. This is an incredibly difficult map with all these dumb, fucking copies of myself, fucking crazy skills. It's still a goddamn struggle. But anyways, here you're gonna see the mage room, and of course it's filled with fucking maids who hit you with debuffs. The monster room wouldn't be any better, because I think on top of the fucking movement hex they put on you, they have their own little form of debuffing. I might be wrong about that, though I don't think I am. Anyways, this is that south room, filled with generals and berserkers. Fuck that. So we're going to try to build a little bit of movement here, so I can move strong people in. And what my idea here is to break the wall, and in one turn go in there and kill everyone. All the mages, maybe not the maids, but the mages. And I think, I don't know, I think I talked about in the hero battle, it's kind of I don't know if I should maybe point this out, but what was it? In World War II, there was a tactic where they were going to take out France. It might have been France. It was either, I think it was their eastern border, and they were like, we have to take them out as quickly as possible and just kill them as fast as possible, so we only have to fight a one-front war. And they called the plan Blitzkrieg, which is like German for lightning or something like that. And so the concept behind this plan of going in and killing all of them is basically that idea, killing all these mages before the reinforcements arrive from the west, or I guess northwest. So it's kind of my own little form of Blitzkrieg here. I don't know if that's the best thing to point out of World War II Germany strat. And of course, in the war, it kind of worked out for them, but not really. In the long run, it didn't, but it kind of did. It worked out for the moment. And you'll see we get a similar effect here. But yeah. So I think the dude in the bottom right has Mosier. I'm not quite sure what the tome is called. It is it essentially, though, I might be wrong about it. It's like the killing edge for tomes, I think. I don't know. I don't really have a lot of magic users on my team, as you can see. I don't really like using magic in this game because, all your physical all your sword, spears, and axe users can all get ranged weapons. It doesn't seem very important to get magic users. So I'm not quite sure. I think it gives you 25 crit though, or the little thing he has, and I think that's why the game's warning me about it. Because it's like, oh, watch out, this guy can crit you. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here. You see a lot of my playstyle, a lot of the time, is me... oh, my bad. Is me looking around and trying to test out strats and whatnot. I don't count these things out in my head, so I'll click on the character and then still move the character around, if that makes sense. It's oh, I'll move my character to the front and then see what the movement will allow me, or I'll click on the movement around. I can see right here, can I go there? Can I go there? Then I'll make my decision. But here, yeah, that spell. Of course, it doesn't stand a chance against Mozu because this Mozu build is fucking absurd. You know, moving everybody south. Yeah. To the... Yeah, okay, so I think... I thought I was safe here. I was like, oh, I've killed all the mages. What danger am I in? And somehow Leo dies to a fucking nade. This likely was, of course, attributed to Enfeeble, because the stats had been lowered, and of course, Leo, I don't know, was he maxed out? I think he was. I don't know. I probably could have prevented it. Actually, I don't know if I could have, with the Blitzkrieg tactic in mind, with wanting to kill all these people in mind in one turn. I don't know if I could have pulled it off, keeping him alive. And then killing all the mages at the same time. Altogether though, at this point in the game, it doesn't matter. We have like 2 chapters left. We have this chapter and then the last chapter. And so, like, keeping a large army alive isn't very important. And even if, like, some semi-important characters die, like these lords, it's like... they're not going to be useful for too much longer, so I'm not stressed about it. Leo, he made a worthy sacrifice. That was one of those opportunities where you sacrifice a knight in exchange for a pawn, but then, you know, the play, you play it off, you know, play it off afterwards, and it works out in your favor. So I'm not concerned about it. I'll get that back. I'll get that back easily. No, that's not good. So an interesting strat I found, and if you're playing this game right now, or if you've played this game before, or even if this is just a message to me in the future, an interesting strat is Effie here has an ability called, I don't know what it's called, god damn it. But all generals have this ability, and you'll see these generals we fight here to the south will have the ability as well. But essentially, it makes it so you can only attack once when you're fighting the general, and it's so you only get one attack on the general. But of course, the balancing act is that the general only gets one attack on you, so both sides will only exchange one blow. And this is obviously to make it so like when a knight's fighting a Meridon, it'll only attack once, because or I guess Swordmaster in this game, a Swordmaster will only attack once, and so it's like, oh, if they're using a killing edge, they might get critted, or they might get hit with Astra. But with this ability, it allows the general to only suffer that, you know, that one hit. And you know, if they get critted, then it's fine, because they can probably survive it. But if they don't get critted, or if they get, you know, if they're gonna get doubled anyways, to more damage, because they're generally pretty slow, then, you know, it balances their, you know, slow speed. But of course, this can be, you know, like everything in this game, can be manipulated. You know, of course, this will probably work for enemies too, so be careful. But I put, if you look there, I put a Brave Lance on Effie, and for some reason, Brave Lance's effects will work through this ability. So Effie will then get 2 attacks on the enemy, and the enemy will only be able to attack once. And this just works so well with, you know, the fact that Effie has high defense, high attack. Her resistance is okay, I think. No, it's not good. It's okay. It's not good, obviously. It's a general, but you know, to have that high attack, high defense, and then putting a Brave Lance with this ability on her gives her 2 attacks and the enemy 1. So it's almost like having a fast, strong, and defensive character. Like you get the best of all worlds, you know, minus that magic or weakness for magic and magic attacks. So it's like it just makes her really good. Let's get picked up on the mic. Got a little sip of the drink right there. And of course, again, here's me once again making use of Entrap, which once again I'll explain to you in the next episode why that fucks me over so bad. Because that's gonna come back and get us. I'll tell you right now. That using the Entrap and earlier on the Rescue so freely will fuck me right over in this last chapter. But of course we're not there yet, so I'm not gonna worry about it. At this point, it's a smart strat right there. Because we're going to have to make quite the defensive here, because entering this final room here, or the third room I guess, we face the brunt of all these knights, most of which have spears. We face berserkers, which have axes, so both Effie's can't tank. Well, okay, some have armor slayer. Some of these knights have, maybe they don't. Oh, one has a hammer, that's what I'm thinking of. So some of these berserkers have hammers, so we can't tank with Effie. The other half have fucking beast killers, so we can't tank with Xander. I think the proper strat here, or what you're supposed to do, is tank with the Avatar as, what's that class called? The, Norian Noble. Because the Norian Noble, as a dragon, like, become dragon, you, like, get, especially with the Dragonstone Plus, you get a crazy defense bonus. And I think that's what you're supposed to do, is tank the Norian Noble, and the pair-up. Of course, probably, like, Gunther. I think Silas gives you good pair-ups, has a good pair-up skill. But I think that's what you're supposed to do, and like, you're not supposed to like hold a wall here. You're probably supposed to back up and slowly bait them out and tank them, but that's not what I do. I have everybody pack in here. But of course you see, not only do you have to take on the brunt of these guys coming from this last room here, which you see is a lot of really strong units just coming right the fuck in. You have to deal with an ambush that if you just saw the people coming from the north, you're ambushed by maids and I think mages, and they'll fuck you right up, because not only are you dealing with the maid in this main room's attacks, which, mind you, you can't reach. You know, look at this fucking wall of dudes. Oh, there's 2 of them in there too. So they have crazy range, you can't reach them. They're just fucking raining fucking their debuffs and hexes and all sorts of crazy shit on you. Well, you have to fight off this wall, and on top of that, they're sneaking in more fucking maids and debuffers behind you. So you're really in this like fucking hallway fighting a 2-front war here. And of course I skipped the enemy turn, and there's more dudes. Interestingly enough, after this playthrough, like I said, this has been about a month since I finished this game. I decided to go back and play Blazing Sword, Fire Emblem Blazing Sword, and I remember a lot of people will tell you about the old NES Fire Emblem games. They'll tell you, they'll be like, oh, if you're gonna play them, you better have a speed up button, because you know they take a long time to play because the NES was so slow. And I was like, whatever, so I can get that. But I went back to play Blazing Sword, which is Elliewood's game. Maybe I'm thinking why you play whatever. I played. It's just called Fire Emblem here in America. They just fucking called it Fire Emblem. So whenever I would go to the title screen, it would just be like Fire Emblem. So I can't remember what it's called. But that game, the enemy turn, you can't skip it, which is like, you know, that's only a feature that they brought up in Awakening, I think, just to speed up the gameplay. But you can't, you know, skip the enemy turn. Now, I didn't realize how slow that made the game. Because in this game, it's like, look, I've got this huge ass army right here of maybe, what is it, like 20 people right now? That may be an exaggeration. But you have like this big army, and like fucking like, you know, you finish moving them, and you just want to keep, you know, you just want to skip the enemy turn. You don't really care, or maybe you're too scared to, you know, you're too scared. Like I was some of the times, like, oh, I don't want to know what happens. But it's like going back to Blazing. So like the game was just so much slower. As I played it on the Wii Virtual Console, so I had to like sit down with like a TV and a controller and like play the game. It's just like so slow. It's like the enemy turn, it's like, you know, you finish moving your guys and it's like, this guy moves, and this guy moves, and this guy moves, and this guy moves. And like, especially like looking at a map like this where things are very compact and tight, like, you know, the game moves a lot quicker. And so like, I don't know, it's like, in that game, it's like, the maps, at least in my opinion, I just played through, what's his face's mode, Elliewood's mode, and it's just like, the map was, you know, it's a little bit easier, so the maps were like kind of spread out, so like, dudes would like, 3 dudes would move per turn, but it would scroll across the entire map to see this one guy, like, walk 3 steps down, and then it would scroll all the way across and go to this other guy, and he'd walk fucking like 2 steps, and then it would get to like the 2 guys attacking my people. It would just take forever. Anyways, I'm on a rant about a different game. But here you see I have to deal with this ambush here, and it's pretty shitty. It's pretty smart of like sucking my own dick here, but it's pretty smart of me to take out that front of generals and not back up, because now I can dedicate a lot of resources to dropping units back. And as you've seen throughout the map, it kind of became a necessity to move some of these units, like to pair them up. It kind of became a necessity for defensive reasons. But here you see it really bites you in the back if you pair up too much, because you have less options if you don't unpair people up. If you don't unpair people, because you know, like here you have a lot of enemies, and you'll have just like clumps of dudes, you know, unable to attack large forces, or a large number of forces, and that you see that really in effect right here when I don't know how I'm gonna deal with all this, because I only have like 3 or 4 units back here to take out like 6 mages, 5 mages, my opinion. But yeah, of course the best option is killer weapons with this Mozu build, because she has almost 60% crit rate, which I don't know how that translates actually, because there's like 3 different critical rate systems, and this is the game where it's like, it doesn't give you the true crit rate, it gives you some exaggeration of the critical hit, like what you're gonna hit. So like, I'm not entirely sure what my actual crit rate is with her, but I think it'd be safe to say it's about 60, which is pretty good. Anyways, here you see not only the boss approaching us, but those reinforcements coming in from the south, those bottom 4 stairs, and that can really, I was talking about how I initially, like when I was first playing this map, I just got fucking obliterated, because I was getting squeezed from these 2 angles, and that's the one mistake I made in that run. I had forced everybody down into that southern room, that bottom room, and when these fucking dudes came in, when those motherfuckers arrived with reinforcements, I had like all my squishy units in there, and and these dudes were coming in from the north, these mages, and they literally just squeezed my units. I just got crushed in this little hallway here. Oof, it's rough. I think this is kind of the point in the game too, where it's like you have longer maps, you have more units, more people to fight, like more like areas. Like I was saying, you divide this map. It feels like three maps instead of like three kind of hard maps. So just one map, so you have like 3 major areas of contention that you have to resolve. So it's like the game kind of changes a bit, becomes a little bit more difficult, and I think that's it's like these maps will go from like, you know, if you start at the beginning of the series, I get like 2 or 3 done within like 15 minutes. We're at the point in the game where it's like I'm spending like 30 to 40 minutes a map, and it just, it's pretty crushing to lose that late on. But yeah, we can deal. This time, of course, took into account the reinforcements on both sides and deal with it appropriately. This is, of course, Hans, who, you know, it's cool that the boss rushes us, right? That's cool. But of course, with this offensive, can I call it that? This set of reinforcements about squelched. I can move everybody back down, help with this last wave of enemies coming from the southern room. And of course you want to take out the boss first, because he has that like super weapon. I actually meant to use it this at some point, but I didn't. It's not too great if I remember. I think it's close to the Berserk's axe. The Berserk axe in usage, something like you get, I may be wrong about this, something like you lose like 30 HP every time you use it, but it will like has like 17 might or something like that, which is a lot of might if you didn't know. And with that made dead, the northern reinforcements are gone. Here I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to deal with this last little bit here, because again, nothing really has changed. In fact, this is almost the same scenario we were met with when we entered. So just as difficult, you want to stay just as cautious. They have, of course, spears, and I don't think any of these guys have hammers. But you don't want to leave anybody squishy in range, like I did leaving Mozu up there. Of course, you know why I did that. You know, that Mozu isn't particularly, I want to say useful to me. Actually, I do. It's kind of expendable, because again, look at that blue shield. So if this Mozu dies, I mean, it took, I don't want to say like it's nothing, it took a while to grind her up, to get the resources to get that Mozu. And on top of that, she has some nice equipment with her. Not that we'll lose it, but still. It would not be cool to lose that Mozu, but of course, if any Mozu's going to die, I'd prefer it to be that Mozu. And if any unit I have is going to die, I'd prefer it to be a blue shield unit, which is, you know, why you can see me using so many of them on the front line and having the real units take up the back, where they they are less likely to die. Anyways, of course. Wait. Apparently everybody can fuck up FE in this part, so I think what I end up doing is keeping her back, actually. I think, yeah, they all have hammers. I take that back. They all have hammers, it looks like. Holy shit. So, of course, I drop her back, and I think I put Kana up front, because Kana, well, disappointingly, not as great as the Avatar, like Morgan was like Robin. Because Morgan was essentially just like a better Robin. That was great to have. Kana's not really a better Corrin at all. At all, so it's like, she's not the greatest. Of course, at this point in the game, I had dumped a lot of magic into her. She has a pretty good magic stat. Pretty decent magic stat. Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's Iago Hex. We had a pretty decent magic stat, so like, so she could make use of the Levy Sword, get more usage out of the Levy Sword. Here I don't think Mozu can fight back, because she had a bow equipped. Of course, you know, it's fine if she dies, she's a blue unit. And like, I don't know if I've said it yet, but I'm not counting blue unit deaths, or blue shield deaths, because the game doesn't count blue shield deaths. If you want to know what I mean, take a look when they die, or when a character dies in Fire Emblem, it plays a death theme, and they'll you know, then you see the death quote. But the blue shield units don't have death themes, and interestingly enough, if you skip enemy turns, it won't inform you that blue shield units have died. So, not really a death. More like in Fire Emblem Sacred Stones when your summon dies. It's kind of like, yeah, whatever. And especially because you can get like blue units back too. So like, if Lucina died, I could summon the amiibo again, get another Lucina. If my character dies, that other version of me dies, I can again pay gold to get it back. You know, of course, that's different from like Leo, who's dead and now just gone forever, unobtainable for me in this playthrough. So like, you know, I'm not counting blue deaths, because I think I even go ahead and I get them back anyways for the finale. Go and get Mozu back, or that blue shield Mozu back. So again, maybe a case of sacrificing a pawn for a pawn. No big trade. And it was really helpful to have her go out there and avoid so much damage, because of course she had Strength Seal, and that'll seal the attack on all these motherfuckers. Of course, there's Kana getting some use out of her, or taking advantage of these Berserkers' low resistance. Is a relatively uneventful exchange with the Avatar. This of course puts our boy, other Goblin King, or other Smile in danger. The one up there, because now he's vulnerable to all three of these knights, as well as debuffing, but he doesn't seem to get triggered. Oh yeah, and at this point he's so debuffed from everything, he cannot do any damage, which just goes to show you how much this map will wear on your units. He is an in-game unit, level 45 Lodestar. He might be the level 41, I don't remember. Level 40, 45 lodestar, in-game unit, like capped stats. Not all of them, some capped stats. He can do 1 damage to these enemies. And he has a silver sword too. Yeah. Yeah, see level 45. Because his strength had been debuffed so much. But of course, that's fine. You get a bunch of dudes who can jump in and help out. Oh! That motherfucker. These knights, I guess, have counter magic. Which again, I probably didn't even notice, considering I have almost no magic users on my team. You notice, I've said that earlier, I mainly just have, you know, physical fighters. Excuse me. But anyways, we're gonna clear up this last room here. Would we lose ultimately? Mozu and Leo? Not bad. Oh no, I think we lost Smile Mode at the beginning. I think. Again, I think I skipped the enemy turn. Fuck, I forgot to even bring that up. I think we lost a Smile Knot at the beginning. One of the lodestars. Yeah, I think I remember that. Essentially though, he got warped away and killed. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Did I even bring another lodestar into this map? What the fuck? Dude, I can't remember. I mean, if he did die, we just buy him back. Again, blue shield units aren't very important. That's what I'm saying. Like, the game won't even let you know when a blue unit dies. Kind of just goes to show how worthless they are. The game won't even acknowledge them. Of course, my Effie here is stuck with, or not Effie, Elise here is kind of stuck with nothing to do. She ran out of men's stacks. So now she's kind of bumbling around. And it's in this last little bit here, where I make a potentially fatal mistake. And it's this one right here, killing this main. Or is it? Might be killing this main. If you notice, we're still in range of green, just in the green range. And of course that signifies enemy staff use. Now of course we'd be in range of Iago, and I'm not worried about Iago because Iago has like, he's only going to debuff us. And not that that's a good thing, but I mean, he'd do that to us anyways, and at this point, what's a little bit more, it's a few less stats on one unit gonna do, you know? I think the avatar is unscathed at this point, so, or my avatar is, and so like, he could hit us with something and probably one-shot him anyways. But the real danger here is we're in range. I think this was about the point where I realized that we're in range. Oh no, Xander. Yeah, it's after I play Xander. Xander's in range of a maid to the left of this last room here. And yeah, see, this maid right here has Entrap. And I'm going to be so scary, but she has a Faceless right next to her. If you notice, my Xander has a purple heart. Which means his HP is half. Luckily, that misses. My heart literally stopped when I saw that. I was like, no, I've come too far, no. But if that would have hit, if she would have entrapped us there, then likely Xander would have died. He would have been killed by that monster. And that would have been fucking... That would have been some rotten garbage right there. I'll tell you what. But luckily he didn't. He survived. And of course I'm going to break this here. And then just walk up to Iago's bitch ass. Look at that shit. Fucking 4 times for 34 damage. 80%.
No.
That's... And I guess this is like one of the few points in the games where it just confirms that you kill him. He says, "No, Iago, I'm ready to kill you." Now, to be perfectly honest, I skipped the cutscene after this. I don't know if you like let him leave or what, but I don't think you do. I think you kill him here. Because he pretty much just tells you, like, for no reason whatsoever, he's been the one who's been a dick to you this whole time. Why? I don't know. And just like that, for no reason, I kill him. Moral of the story, don't be a dick. But of course, run away and you can seize with whoever in this game. So, I seize. Anyways, thanks for watching. It's been the Goblin King with another Fire Emblem Conquest playthrough. See you guys next time. Peace out.